within the Kick community, there's some controversy around just about everyone. Joker loves to find himself in a lot of controversy, which is cool. We all find ourselves in those situations. So
one of the things that they wanted to ask was, well, first off, what are the major updates, right? Like, I know you got something in your back pocket. You got something cooking in the back. I've seen some of the Twitter posts that's been occurring. And we just want to hear exactly, what you have to say about that. And I'm getting bombed here. I'm so sorry. Let me just get rid of Botrix so we don't hear that anymore. What do you got cooking, man? What's the secret sauce?
Yeah. So right now on Kick, we've got a lot of resources right now being dedicated to bettering the platform. I think the most important part about Kick, and any product for that matter, right? It doesn't matter if it's Kick or anything in the online space. It comes down to having the best platform, the best product out there. So our number one goal at the moment is to continuing bettering the product. And we understand that there is a few things that we need to catch up on. I think a big one that people ask for continuously is console support. That's obviously coming. Another one is in terms of the API. I think this is a really important one that people don't quite understand the extent of. What we're trying to get at right now is a fully documented API for third-party developers to build on top of. This was meant to come a little bit while back, but we got held up because the website's currently undergoing a bit of a recode. In honesty, Kick was kind of built quite quickly and has grown extremely quickly. So subsequently, it's needed to adapt. And what that's brought on is a challenge of having to really look back and sort of understand how and why we made certain sort of architectural decisions and revamp it. And in that process, that means releasing an API right now would serve very little function because it would be, the endpoints would change. So the actual release of the API, I'm extremely excited for because that's going to bring a whole lot of incredible third-party applications to Kick. I'm talking, the likes of Stream Elements, for example, are the first in line to integrate. Any service you can think of that currently sits on top of any other streaming platform, you're going to see them on Kick very shortly. So that's going to be huge. I think we kind of underestimate how large and how important these services are. So that's coming extremely soon. Outside of that, the one thing that I've been speaking about so much and always go on about, it's a creator incentive program. And that's going to be the game changer, right? That's going to be the one thing which I think people have been looking forward to the most. Obviously, we have like the first class creators, the second class creators. There's also a third class of creators coming. But after that, we're actually going to be rolling the whole entire plan out to pretty much anyone who meets the requirements. And that's going to just completely change the whole streaming landscape because we're going to go from a situation whereby people have, always streamed and had a good time, but they're also going to have a good time and make money whilst they do it. And not just off gifted subs and donations and whatnot, but on top of that, they're going to be just earning a flat hourly rate. And that's going to be huge, as possible. We actually recently have started putting processes in place around anti-viewbotting. That's a big one as well. There's a lot of people, unfortunately, that abuse the system and try to inflate views and stuff. So we're putting process behind that. Hey, there's a whole bunch of stuff we're working on. But, I'm super excited for it all. The most important thing, though, is that we are not going to stop cooking. We've got a whole heap of stuff planned away.
Flick the screen and they'll see like the clips of people, right? And then if they spend more time on the clip, then it might populate on the browse list or recommended list for the person. Is that still something that you guys are considering? Is there another method that you guys are developing for the small streamers?
So discoverability, right, I think is one of the most sort of difficult ones to kind of get right. I think it's something in which live streaming is quite unique in the way that typically people view streams from highest to lowest viewers, and that's kind of always been, how live streaming's worked. I guess people have tried putting together kind of recommended formulas and whatnot. Recommended formulas are different for streaming, right? I think, when you look at kind of TikTok, right, that's a really great example. TikTok quickly figures out like Yeah, it matches you with the content you're looking to watch, right? It's looking to match you with what you engage with the most, whether that's cute dogs or something. It quickly figures out you like that, so it gives you more and more of it, and it tries to match you with your likes. Streaming's different, right? You're not actually really matching people with what they enjoy watching. You kind of match them up with personalities. Streaming is long form content.
Oh, in terms of the kicks, right? So do you have any plans for like kicks, kind of like bits? Any other like donations for these streamers aside from subs? Because I remember there was talks about that in the beginning, and I'm not sure if like we're still in the process of doing that. Was that something you just kind of wanted to shelf for now? Like how do you anticipate that growing into the platform?
Yeah, no, that's a huge one. Of course, we understand the importance of that, because obviously that adds an ability for people to contribute to a channel outside of that $5 denomination. Right now, gifted subs are $5, and that's kind of the minimum you can give to someone. The big part about kicks will allow people to say, hey, I want to give you, 10 cents or 50 cents. And that can add up, right? And that can also be integrated into third-party applications, so you can, activate stuff like, TTS or anything else. So that's still very much on the roadmap. We're looking forward to rolling that out. We're actually going to be adding some really cool extra stuff around the kicks as well. I think that the other platforms that use like bits or whatever, I think they restrict them quite a bit. It's quite boring. You receive the bits and you can cash them out. That's kind of the end of the story. What our idea is you can actually kind of expand on that a little bit, and you can actually kind of move these kicks around. You can, for example, tip them to people quite easily. You can gift them out into your chat to random people, similar to, people who use stake, they might see the rain function. We're going to have a lot of creative ways of being able to allow people to share their kicks. So a big thing we're trying to do is obviously create a bit of distance between stake and kick. Everyone always goes on, kick's owned by stake, it must be bad or whatever, right? I don't know why people like to complain about stuff, but for that reason, we're kind of avoiding.
They always do, man.
Yeah, I was like, hey, that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. You're backed by a company that's, doing well.
Oh,
anyway,
that was the only reason why I came here. I came here because of that.
We're trying to keep crypto out of it all. I think obviously myself and a lot of the team, we understand crypto quite well and love crypto, but we don't want to get negative sort of connotations towards the website for that reason. So we've been holding off on it. I think it won't be long until we accept crypto as a payment method, just the same way you can add a credit card right now and soon to be PayPal. Like if you want to pay for gifted subs or bits in crypto, sure, but kicks will never be a crypto coin.
Because we're kind of teetering on would an ad, want to be affiliated with majority of what's here or not? We wouldn't know. That would be on their point. But would that also be something that, is upon kick, such as, like I said, ads?
No, I think ads are going to play a big part of the future of kick, right? I think, obviously when it comes to any sort of media, whether it's traditional or new age, advertisements have always been the foundation in which it's, remained a viable operation. At the very moment, we're holding back on ads because I'll be honest with you, it's one of the things that I personally enjoy about Kick the most. I'm watching someone on Kick and there's no like ads every 5 minutes popping up, and it's frustrating. It's a really bad viewer experience. So for the time being, we're not running any ads. We're not looking to run any ads. What we will potentially roll out pretty soon is the ability for people who are streaming to run their own ads in conjunction with their own partnerships. So let's say, you team up with, say, McDonald's and they say, we're going to pay you, $5 every time you run an ad. You can run an ad through Kick seamlessly and then send the data back to them in terms of, how many people are watching, the engagement, all the relevant data. So there's an idea behind that we do want to incorporate. So therefore, if you want to run ads and you want to run your own deals, then you'll have the option to do that. Keep in mind though, if Kick will start running network ads or ads on our behalf, obviously there would be some sort of revenue split on there, but those would supersede the ads that you'd be able to run. So, without making too many promises, we want to allow people the ability to advertise as soon as possible and, boost their ultimate revenue. But at the same time, we also understand that the viewer experience is extremely important, and not getting bombarded with 5, 10, 15 ads every hour is, a really big selling point to the platform.
See, Kick has been seen as a streamer-heavy platform. Many people are saying that, whenever they see their chats, it's always a streamer that's in their chat that's supporting them and so on and so forth. At least the smaller streamers. And this is just, again, general consensus that I've obtained in my data collection, either on Twitter, on Discord, people asking questions. This is kind of one of the ones that stuck out. The viewer experience, right? Is there a plan on essentially incentivizing people to be more viewers rather than streamers? Because, as you said, viewer experience is absolutely important.
Probably the most important, right? I think, to be fair, to answer your question there, I'll be honest, I think you'll find that actually the number of viewers to people streaming, this is a very important metric, right? When you're analyzing websites and you're trying to figure out, okay, where have I got my best crack at building an audience? Obviously viewers are probably the most important aspect. Like, without viewers, there's no streamers, and that's what we understand. We try to put the viewer first. But you mentioned that there is maybe a lack of viewers. To be fair, if you do kind of look at the number of people live on Kick at any given moment versus the viewers, the number is actually quite healthy. It's at a very nice ratio almost. A lot of that is very much impacted by the likes of larger streamers, which do have massive audiences. But of course, slowly but surely, their audiences will start to hopefully cross sort of pollinate, or in slowly sort of interject themselves into other communities, such as if you're a streamer, your community. So I do think that's at a good number right now, but it can increase. Primarily I think that the one thing that drives viewers though is always going to be the experience from a product perspective. You mentioned stuff like the chest and all that kind of stuff. I think the moment you start incentivizing viewers with money, it's a dangerous thing. I think people come for all the wrong reasons, and spam and bots and all that kind of stuff can get out of hand. So I don't think we want to go towards that action. I think that's kind of a mistake that can be taken.
Yeah. Have you thought about possibly working alongside of your competitors, such as Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok, to help mold the industry into something that is more of a freedom of speech kind of line, right? Because at this point in time, there's a big turning point in how content is being produced. Many people are erring on the side of freedom of speech, and it's kind of like a content war at this point, right? You got some people who have expectations from the Twitch kind of side of things, where they're like, well, this is not right, or that's not right, and then whereas Kick, we're like, wait a minute, that's kind of reasonable for that to be on a live stream because it airs on a side of freedom of speech. Are you open to having dialogue with some of these, some of these other competitor executives and coming to maybe an open discussion of what should be the norm?
Extremely important. I don't think freedom of speech allows people to have the freedom to say, access to likes of hate speech. That's not how it should work at all. I think there is a fine line between what is acceptable and not acceptable, but at the same time I think a lot of other platforms are just taking it too far, and that's at the cost of people who are trying to make cool content, at the cost of people who are trying to watch entertaining content, or some people that just want to speak about certain subjects which they're not allowed to. So I think we definitely want to err on the side of ensuring that we kind of understand where that balance lies and where we can optimize the output of the platform and what content people consume without ultimately putting anyone in harm's way.
The fact that there is a discoverability that it was it always has been for the smaller streamer. Sure, we as we've seen, XQC and a lot of the bigger boys came and really validated who we are as a streaming platform. So really kudos to you for bringing them on over and partnering them up. But the fact that you just said that we are still looking at the smaller streamers and that kind of market, I mean, it solidifies exactly what the expectation is that we have all fought for Kick.
Within the Kick community, there's some controversy around just about everyone. Joker loves to find himself in a lot of controversy, which is cool. We all find ourselves in those situations. So